Hey everybody, my name is Kamakhala Maponya Kamtota Bazayati Baza, and thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. As you know, I am a third year accounting student at the University of Cape Town, and I love all things accounting, and I'm sure you watching this video also love all things accounting. Now, today I am going to be talking about all things bursaries. Many students are facing financial need in the university space. We've seen what has been happening with NSFAS. We've seen how many people have gone through other bursaries like the recent ones where they're not getting all their full payments. So I wanted to give advice and help those who are currently applying for bursaries and give them all the tools they need to succeed. As you know, I have my notes here, and when I have my notes, I am a very, very serious girl. But before we apply for a bursary or a scholarship, we actually need to know the difference, right? And with a bursary, it's all about financial need. If you're someone who has unfortunately come from a disadvantaged background, but you want to further your studies, a bursary is what you will get. It's all based on financial need. Whereas with a scholarship, it is based on academic merit. So you can come from a middle class family or a family that can afford to take you to university. But because you have done so well academically, maybe in high school, first year, throughout your university career, and you need to just you just want money necessarily for your studies, then you can apply for a scholarship. So remember, scholarship is all about academic credit, whereas a bursary is someone with good marks, but they also they have a financial need. So, what are some of the requirements for you to get a bursary? While most bursaries have like fundamental things that they want, right? Some will have specifics, but most bursaries have these fundamental requirements. Unfortunately, they mainly cater to South African students. So if you are a South African resident or a permanent resident in South Africa, you'll be eligible for this bursary or scholarship. You need to have good academic history. So this means throughout your university career or throughout your high school career, you must have had good marks. You can't expect to get a bursary if you didn't have good marks throughout your high school career, or at least in your grade 10, 11, and 12 year. So the most you can be looking at is around 70 plus, and sometimes if they see a lot of potential, if you have around 60% plus, you have a very big chance of scoring that bursary or scholarship. Another thing that you need is that you need to be, or you need to have the intention of applying to university or actually be in the university space. So these bursaries want to make sure that they're going to give money to someone who actually cares to be there, who actually is going to put in effort, and who is actually going to want to further their career, and they need a university degree to do so. So I used some of these sites when I was in matric. When I applied for bursaries, I knew that I wanted to at least get some funding for university. So some of the sites I used were ZA Bursaries. Now they have everything, regardless of your degree, regardless of what you want to study at university. They have almost everything. ZA Bursaries, All Bursaries, Career Portal, and Study Trust. A lot of them help you with your bursary process. They tell you how to apply. They tell you what kinds of bursaries you can apply for. They give you all the information in terms of the emails you need to send it to, whether it's an online application, if it's a physical application. So all these bursaries have all the information you need. And I think these ones will help simplify your life, and they make it very easy to navigate applying for bursaries. It can be very daunting just thinking about the 20 million bursaries that are out there, but these sites have helped me personally and have helped so many other people I know, and they help you just make this process so much easier. So you will obviously need some documents when you're applying for these bursaries, right? And if you are in the process of applying for university, some of these documents are quite similar. So if you're in matric right now or a student who's applying to university, you already have these documents with you. So you don't have to fear that much. You already have some of these documents with you. So the essential ones are that you need your scanned ID, and it needs to be certified by a registered person, right? But usually the police can do it for you. So you need to make sure it is certified. It's so important that you have it certified. They also may need your parents' or guardian's ID as well, just to prove your identity. And it's the same for universities. They want your parents' or guardians' details. Is the same with bursaries as well. They will need your parents' payslip. So if you are applying for a bursary on the basis of financial need, they want to prove that you actually have a financial need. So they'll need your parents' payslip, they'll need bank statements. So those are the two main ones. They payslip or either they are bank statements to prove that you have a financial need. Another one is that if you're in the university space, they will need your transcript. So if you're already in your first year of university and you have not yet applied for a bursary, they'll need your transcript or progress report thus far. So if you're further along in your university journey, they'll need what you have done from the beginning of first year. And sometimes they will require your matric as well as your grade 11 report. Now, if you're a high school student, lucky for you, they only need your grade 11 and your matric results thus far. So it's now term 2 in the matric year, so they'll need your term 1 marks of matric. And last but not least, they will need your proof of address, where you live, and you can show this by taking the utilities bill that your parents can give you or your guardian. So like I said, you will need your scanned ID and certified. You'll need your parents' one as well. You'll need their payslip or 3 months bank statement. You'll need your academic report or transcript if you're in university, as well as a proof of address. Now, I'm an accounting student, so I prefer to talk all things accounting. If you are a student in any other faculty, I think it would be best to go onto the sites I have mentioned before to gather all the information you need in order to progress with your application. I'm going to specifically talk to the accounting students because that's where I have experience in. And I'm going to talk about how you can get an accounting bursary. Many students, especially in accounting, can get bursaries because there's so many bursaries on offer for accounting students. A lot of people don't know, and oftentimes they think that they have to apply for NSFAS only. Apply for NSFAS, but also consider your other options. So there are many other options in the accounting industry. There are 2 types of main options. You can either go to the tip route or the top route. So the tip route is all things training within public practice. And this is if you're going through audit, your big 5 firms being Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, EY, as well as BDO. These are your biggest and best audit firms in the country and in the world. And they offer bursaries to almost anyone, right? And I think I know a lot of students in my class who are signed and who also have bursaries from these companies. What I can say about your big audit firms is that because they have such a good reputation, it is often that you'll also get your training contract alongside with it. So I know the training contract, I think I'll speak about it in a separate video more in depth, but in this video, your training contract is similar to your employment contract. They're giving you work as soon as you finish your degree. So the beautiful thing about it is you get a bursary and you also get a job in the process. So that's the beautiful thing of going within your audit firms, right? They guarantee you a job if you get their bursaries. So what do they cover? Many of these bursaries cover your school fees, they'll cover your stationery as well as res. And those are your biggest costs in university. However, if you don't have that big of a financial need, they won't cover everything. So you might find that they only cover 50% of your fees and the other 50% you will be responsible for. But let's think about this. Already university is so expensive. If you have 50% off, that is already a great saving for your parents. So take the chance. Take that chance. You don't want to come to university and burden your parents with those finances. And if you have the opportunity for a bursary that is only paying 50%, at least take that chance. Another thing is that with these bursaries, like I said, you're going to be guaranteed a job. And like I said, who wouldn't want to be guaranteed a job in Cyril's economy, right? This economy is not looking great. And if you already have that certainty that you can get a job, I would say take that opportunity. On the other side, we have something called TOP, which is training outside of public practice. So these are your accountants who don't go the audit route. They're going through banking or financial services or they're just going to work in industry, right? And these ones means that you're not going to be in audit, but you have the finance industry open up to you. Now, I would say that if you can do your research about both types of the accounting routes, it's very important, and I'll touch on it later as well in another video. But the common banks or the common companies that are in the top industry are your Standard Bank, your Old Mutuals, your Nedbank, Investec. We have ShopRite Holdings. ShopRite doesn't just sell food, guys. They also have an accounting bursary. We have Capitec, we have 91, we have First Rand Bank, we have Sanlam, and many others. So if you're looking at being within the insurance space, within the banking space, look at those companies. They are very, very big on recruiting students. They want to get as many of us as possible. So the beautiful thing about working in banking is they also give you a training contract. Maybe not as guaranteed as your TIP programs, which is your audit firms, but they will also give you a training contract with your bursary. So like I said, you'll get funding for your university, and you will get an employment contract or a training contract for you to work right after you are done. So both give you the opportunity to work as well as get funding within the university space. There are also other general bursaries and scholarships out there. So these are bursaries or funding that you'll receive from companies, but without the expectation of them giving you an employment contract. So the beauty is that if you're not sure which industry within accounting you want to work for, your general bursaries offer you the opportunity to get funding, but then you have the option within university to see, do I want to go in audit? Do I want to go into banking? Do I want to go into financial services? So if you have a general bursary, like the likes of Alan Gray or Marshall Program, as well as Dal Young Leaders or the APSA Fellowship, which are your general bursaries, then you have a greater pool open for you in terms of where you want to work. They also finance your whole university journey, so your books, your res fees, as well as school fees, and some of them will give you an allowance. This is all case dependent. Not all bursaries will give you an allowance, or they'll give you an allowance for your necessities only. Another big one that is often forgotten is your municipality-based bursaries. Now, these are the biggest one. If you were to go onto these sites, you'll see that most of your bursaries actually come from your municipalities. And this means that depending on where you live right now, so I'm just going to use Cape Town as an example. If you live in Cape Town, they might say, if you go to a university based in Cape Town, we will pay for your school fees. Now, this is beneficial if you want to stay closer to home, but if you want to move to a university further, it might not be as beneficial. But what I'm saying is, with these municipality-based bursaries, there are a lot of them, and oftentimes people don't go after them because they don't know about them. But that's why I'm saying, check these sites, make sure to do your research and do your research and do more research so that you know where it is you would like to go, and you also know what type of bursary or funding you are looking for. And I want to give you guys honorable mentions, right? There are two main honorable mentions I'd like to give, which is Tutuka and Facet, right? They're also common bursaries and scholarships that are awarded to university students or matric students going into university. And I'll speak more about Tutuka. And this one I would say is a beautiful one, and I've seen so many of my classmates in it. It's why I say it's beautiful is because they don't just provide you with, your school fees and your funding, but they also provide you with all the resources you need to become the CA you want to be, right? So they'll provide mentorship, they will provide extra lessons should you need it, they provide tutoring, and many of these other bursaries do too, but with the Tutuka one, it's specifically created for your accounting students. They want to foster and grow accounting students from the time they start till their careers. So Tutuka is a very common one, and it's a very popular one within the accounting space. Now let's talk about your motivational letter. I think this is my favorite part in the bursary application, and a lot of people hate it the most because they'll tell you, write a motivational letter for why you deserve this bursary. And you're always thinking to yourself, what am I going to write? Why do I deserve it more than the other person? And I think this is a great opportunity for you to showcase your talents, what your strengths are, and how, if you have weaknesses, how you're working towards them. Now, with the motivational letter, like I said, it's your opportunity to stand out in the crowd. Many of these bursaries get tens and thousands of applications, right? But you find that they can only fund maybe 100 to 200 students, and if it's a much bigger bursary, they can fund up to 1,000 students. But you want to be that person who gets the funding, right? So I'm going to share a few tips that can help you with your motivational letter. Firstly, make sure that you have at least 5 paragraphs. And I wouldn't suggest going over a page or 2 pages with your motivational letter. I think keeping it short and sweet and to the point makes it easier to read, it makes it easier to follow, and at the same time, who wants to read 2 pages of content? It's too much, and you don't want the person reading it to ever feel like, oh, this person is overdoing it. You want to be sharp, short, and sweet, right? And here are a few things I think you should include. First of all, with the 5 paragraphs, make sure that paragraph number 1 is your introduction, right? Make your introduction a killer. Introduce yourself, but don't introduce yourself in a generic way. Make yourself interesting, right? Make yourself bold. And I'm going to share an example of what I did many years ago. And I started off by saying, I can already see it. I'm standing in the graduation room at UCT, graduating with a BCom in financial accounting, Kamogelo Maponya. And that's how I introduced myself. I introduced myself by already showing them what my goal is. My goal is to be a great accounting student, right? To finish this degree within the introduction, right? Obviously, make sure you introduce who you are, what you're about, and the reason you're applying for this bursary. But make it stand out. Don't be generic, because they're going to read 10,000 applications. They must read yours first and be like, wow, she's different. He's different. He brought a different angle to this motivational letter. Another thing I would say you should do is you'll have your 3 bodies, right? So like I said, you'll have your introduction, then you'll have your 3 paragraphs. Each one must signify your strength or who you are. So what I did is that I spoke to who I am as a person in my first body paragraph, right? Who is Kamo? What is Kamo all about? In the second paragraph, I spoke mainly to what it is that I do. So paragraph number 1, body paragraph number 1 is who am I as a person, right? Describing my strengths, my weaknesses, my talents. And then body paragraph number 2 was all about what it is that I do. I spoke more to like what my academic achievements were, how I participated in sports, and how I participated in like extracurricular activities at school. I spoke about what I do. And then in the third paragraph, I spoke about financial need. So if you have a financial need, I think writing it in the third paragraph is great, because they already see all the good things about you. They don't just think you want them for money, right? And putting it in the third paragraph, and this was my strategy, was showing that because of all my other strengths, this is why it feeds into the financial need. I can show you all my strengths first, and then the financial need last. And then in your conclusion, you tie it all together. You give them reasons why, or you summarize the reasons why you believe that bursary should be yours. Like I said, make sure to be engaging, to be formal in your writing, and to make your letter pop. Make it pop. Make sure that you are different from everyone else. You want to make sure that the person reading it feels excited. They might want to get to know you better, which then takes you to the interview stages. Thank you so much for watching. If this was very helpful to you, please comment down below. And if you have any questions for me, also comment down below. But thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe, like, and share with everyone you know. Like I said, motivational letter, make it pop, and applying for bursaries is important. Take every chance you can get. And all the best. See you next time.